Okay, I'm here this morning with Jon Light from Devexperts, who's the Senior Director of Products at Devexperts, which covers an awful lot of a big range of products from charting, AI tools, and the DX Trade platform, which is in use by a growing number of brokers. It's a growing force in the market, and we're here this morning to talk about AI and Jon's view on what's happening in the brokerage industry in terms of AI adoption, where we currently are, what's in use by both brokers and traders, and what the future of AI development may hold for the industry. So, Jon, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me. And hopefully it'll be an interesting conversation. I'm a big advocate of AI, and myself and others at Devexperts, we're constantly looking into the future to try and understand how it can actually be used in practice, and what the capabilities are now and will be in the future. So should be a great discussion.
Great, thanks for joining. So I think everybody by now pretty much has an account with either ChatGPT or Claude, both on the trading side and on the brokerage industry side. What do you see in terms of what the landscape is right now in AI adoption? But let's start with the brokerage industry itself. For the retail brokers' point of view, how are they adopting these tools that are available?
Yeah, so obviously everyone is now interested in AI and moving forward. At Devexperts, we've had a AI machine learning division here for I think maybe around 7 years. So we've been experimenting a lot in that time, and we have a number of different products. So right now, I see that there are some advancements, but in general, the trading platform and the LLMs are relatively separated. That there are a lot of tools that are being brought into the trading platforms. So we see widgets like market sentiment coming into the platform. We have at Devexperts we have a chatbot called DevExa that's able to interact directly with the traders and is able to understand the account and understand the context. We've also added into our platform, into our DX charts, the ability to build custom indicators just from simple English language. And those indicators can write scripts for the charts, and the idea is that we will also be able to produce algos for trading from that. So there's a lot of advancements there. Also, one area that the brokers are particularly interested in is our user profiling. So we have the ability to analyze how the traders are interacting with the platform, as well as how the trades they're executing, what their behavior is before and after trades, and from this we can help with retention and revenue protection. We can do things like show traders specific content based on their behavior, building custom watch lists, showing similar instruments to what they've been trading, changing layouts, etc. And then also we can provide some of this over API into CRMs, so CRMs can use this information for marketing. So that's how things are being used kind of now. But I think there's some really interesting things that will kind of happen over in the short term, even coming soon.
So more announcements from Devexperts on AI developments.
Yes, we're running lots of different experiments, and obviously making sure things will be production ready. Definitely.
So going back to the trader, you allow a trader to have analysis on their own trading and what they've done right, what they've done wrong. Is that what you're?
So that particular user profiling, this is predominantly used by the broker to be able to increase retention rates. But we've been running lots of experiments, even with some select clients, on adding MCP services to the platform. So for those that don't know, an MCP service is a layer that sits underneath the LLM, the AI tool, and the MCP service then understands APIs underneath. So it understands, the type of things that it can ask, the type of data that can be pulled, and obviously the LLM can then produce that. So we have built an MCP service for traders, and we've seen some really interesting results. So firstly, like I mentioned, it sits on top of an API. So the API has to be robust and contain all of the data that is needed. You can't just chuck an MCP service onto an existing API. Generally, it probably can handle maybe 80% of what's needed, but the real value is in this kind of extra 20%. So we've done a lot of development in our APIs to be able to support this. And then once we've set this up, it's very easy to to go into Claude, connect to the MCP service. You can do everything from trading. We can build certain strategies linking into agents. And from a trader's perspective, we've also been able to show certain back testing on certain algos and strategies. Also, it's very interesting because the LLM is able to connect to multiple different data points, bring that all together, and use that to make decisions or to show actions. So, things like getting data from Twitter, bringing in Donald Trump's tweets from Twitter, bringing in news on the war in Iran, for example, bringing in price data from the MCP service, and then bringing that together to be able to set a strategy, which then we can send orders based on certain parameters from that information. So yeah, I mean, every time we look at it, we're kind of are quite amazed, but they're it's not perfect yet, and the reason that I say it's not perfect is because these LLMs, like Claude and OpenAI, for example, they don't yet have the stability that we would expect from the trading world. Actually, even Claude has a web page where they show the uptime and downtime of the platform, and that pretty much every day there is downtime. And when and on the days where there's not downtime, it's service disruption. And I'm sure you, Sam, and others that have used OpenAI or Claude, you probably have run into that situation where it kind of stops working or something like that. So obviously, from a trading perspective, this can't happen. So traders fully relying on this way of trading, it's not, unfortunately, it's not there yet. And then the second thing that we've seen is that they these tools are not yet ready for lots of real-time data. So it can't be used for high frequency trading or making decisions very, very quickly based on a certain tick data. It's more for kind of high level strategies. And that's where the ML models that we've been experimenting with come in, so they can handle that kind of thing. But these LLMs, not quite there yet.
It's very interesting. Yeah, and I have experienced that definitely. You're punching things into Claude, and then suddenly you get we can't reach the server at the moment or whatever. Do they not have an enterprise model where they reduce that or guarantee some kind of uptime?
You can pay extra for kind of more compute, but as far as I'm aware, there's no guaranteed uptime on those. So yeah, right now it's not great, but I'm sure they will improve. I think the problem is that every day millions of people are onboarding onto these platforms. They're trying to keep up, adding more servers, and then it's kind of like you can imagine if there's 100 brokers using one trading platform, and one broker does something on that platform that causes a lot of load, and every other broker gets affected. So it's kind of very similar to that kind of model that we see in the retail space where we have these multi-tenant platforms. So yeah, I'm sure it's a short-term problem, but yeah, from our experiments, it can't be relied on yet.
Okay, very good point. I hadn't really considered that. So the model Context Protocol is what MCP stands for, I believe. And
yes.
if I'm not mistaken, if you go to somewhere like Claude, there's almost a marketplace where you can connect Claude to
Exactly.
various services like Google, for example, Google Sheets, Google Docs, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Does DevExperts are you on that list of services?
So we're launching our market data there. So inside Claude, you can so we have a B2. The only really real area of our business which is B2C is market data. So if you have a terminal for trading US futures, for example, you can subscribe directly to our market data, and the idea is that we can also plug this into Claude and other services, and you can get market data into the platform. But like I mentioned, the real benefit would be to bring in historical market data for analysis. Right now, I don't see that Claude is ready for, bringing in lots of real-time market data to kind of make those decisions. So it's not quite there to replace a trading terminal right now, but I'm sure it will be at some stage.
Well, the other one that props up in my mind is Perplexity, because Perplexity I've seen on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, there are people developing trading tools, trading applications, and I think it's called Computer. And my X feed is full of people building trading applications based on market data. Maybe Perplexity could be a bit more reliable for that. I don't know. Maybe it's marketing. I'm not sure.
So one area though we've also experimented a lot in for the traders is not just the MCP, but if there is a good API on the trading platform, it's very easy to build your own interface. So I actually built my own, my own front end. I just copy pasted the API documents in, defined quite clearly how I want it to work. So I think this could also be something interesting in the future because, I'd say that 90% of traders, they kind of just want something very simple. There's the watch list, there's a chart, there's a trade, really easy to use. But those 10% of traders that want something more complex, or where it's showing multiple charts on the screen, and they're using more of the features and functionality of the platform. These guys that really know what they want, I think in the future they will just they can go into Claude and say, like, I want this type of interface. This is how I want it to work. And that's where, again, the API is really, really important. So if you're able to handle everything that the trader might want, and you can get real-time market data coming into this, this is where that will really take over. And I see that there will be some brokers that will even offer this inside maybe their terminal. The first time you log in, it kind of asks you about your trading experience, how you trade, what you want to trade, and it will it will just build you the platform that you want to see. I think in the next kind of couple of years we'll see some front ends like this that really do tailor to the actual trader. And then as the trader's journey evolves with the broker, the platform constantly evolves and starts showing them more of what they want to see.
So the trader will be able to custom build their own front end, you're saying?
The traders can already do that if they want to. If there's an API, they can already go in. Like I said, I even made a front end, and that's where the AI development capability of AI really works well, is building some front ends on some existing back end. Where it's not great yet is building the back end. So still there is a lot of value in stable, reliable back end with the proper APIs. That's everything is tried and tested. But if a trader wants to build their own front end, it's quite easy to do that even today. But like I said, I think most traders probably don't want to spend the time maybe to do that, and that's why there will be front ends that will adapt to the trader's behavior and what they want to trade just automatically.
Let's talk a little bit more about the rising sophistication of traders using AI. I get the sense that every retail broker has to demonstrate the number of traders that lose money with this particular broker. Anecdotally, that number is falling. I think it's, I mean, do you see that? Do you have a sense that traders are becoming a little bit more sophisticated because they're using AI tools?
Yeah, I think, well, the retail trader has more access to data than ever before. Going back to when we first met, Sam, like 15 years ago, the retail trader, they they just pretty much had a price and some news every now and then. But now they have so much access to so much data, sentiment data, Twitter, all of these different channels. And actually, it becomes pretty much impossible to analyze all of that data in your brain. So that's where I see that, AI is helping them. But yeah, I definitely see that the traders become more and more sophisticated. But at the same time, you know, the vast majority of traders, like I said, they they want something very, very straightforward and simple, and just having some AI tools that are analyzing all of this and just kind of giving the trader some ideas is very powerful. I think that's what's happening now, but I see that will change in the future.
Well, of course, EAs have been around for a really long time, and there's a difference between an EA and an AI model. EAs kind of, they're developed on back testing existing data and letting that model run from the history forwards, but it doesn't really learn. Whereas an AI
Yes.
model, is continuously learning and adapting its trading style to what the current market is showing. And my understanding is that in the crypto space, the majority of trading is done via AI bots. Perhaps not quite so much in the FX space or equity space and so on. There's a whole list of AI bots. I mean, we've got an article on LiquidityFinder showing, at least as of last year, the amount of AI bots that are available for trading crypto. So
yeah, I think, well, these type of traders are, a lot of the traders that started getting into the markets through crypto, and they're much more tech savvy, and they kind of understand some of this. So yeah, they're giving, and as those traders start to move into new asset classes, new markets, new instruments, they want to be able to interact in, not just through interfaces, but through those APIs, and they may build their own algos. So yeah, we see this as well, this trend.
So if on the one hand, traders are becoming more sophisticated, then the brokers need to become more sophisticated to manage the flow that's coming at them. And it's like this war going on between the trader and the broker. So what kind of tools are available for brokers to manage that flow?
Yeah, so we actually, for me, what we've been working on these MCP services and the capabilities, it's really quite exciting from a broker's perspective. So again, you need to have a good API. You need to be able to expose the data. It needs to be robust enough to handle that. But it's these LLMs and these AI tools are very good for analyzing certain patterns. So we've, mocked, suspicious activity, fraudulent pieces, also, from prop trading accounts, accounts working in sync or together, and trying to pick out these. Very, very good at this. Also from the trader's perspective, so from the broker's perspective, even things like troubleshooting accounts. If you give these LLMs access to the platform to look at all the different settings, etc., slippage, why certain things happened, if it can analyze different logs and stuff like that, it's really impressive on what it can do there. We've also experimented a lot in configuration of the platform. So, when a broker needs to learn or a dealer needs to learn the back end of the platform and set everything up and maybe keep things in sync with their other platforms. AI is great for this. At the moment, most brokers have, 2, 3, 4 different trading platforms, and they're having to log into each of them, configure them in different ways. If something is happening on a particular currency pair, they need to, change spread settings or something like that. They need to log into all of these different places and do them in different ways. Actually, if you can connect all of those platforms into your AI tool, you can just say, I need to increase the spread on a certain instrument on here for these clients. You can just connect off and do that. So being able to manage multiple platforms, analyze all of those in one place is really beneficial. And like I said, it's very impressive some of the commands that we've been pushing in, where we've been interacting with the back end, where the dealer can say, show me clients that traded this particular currency pair yesterday, and really doing that analysis. And also it's great for the management of the brokers as well. They can quickly they don't need to keep on asking their finance team or their operations team certain questions that may need to be analyzed. They can just go straight into the tool and have any information that they want. How much did we make yesterday, for example? They don't need to learn how to run certain reports. They can have, they can interact directly and ultimately even build dashboards quite easily with what they want. But with all of those benefits, there's still the downsides that I mentioned before. It's still the stability of these LLMs is not perfect, and still, analyzing massive amounts of data, it's kind of time consuming, and obviously takes up a lot of your compute from your account, different tokens and things like that. So you quickly will run out of, unless you have a very expensive subscription.
Okay. And what product is that allows the broker to analyze the client base that Devexperts offers?
So again, it's an MCP service that can sit up on top of our APIs, and that we can plug Claude or other tools into it. So like we've even simulated some issues on the platform, or we've simulated people accessing from some dodgy IPs and things like that. Claude gets it every time. But again, also, one thing that we also see is that Claude and OpenAI and these other tools are, they will never admit that they can't do something, and they're always very happy to help. So, also, they will just find a way of giving you an answer without it necessarily being completely correct. So it's still, like I said, we're still experimenting in this area, and actually with the MCP service we can start to build certain guardrails and rules of how it's interacting. But it's quite very interesting, the type of things it's able to pick up.
Okay, and I see that Grenadier, is that the name of the tool? Won best AI solution at Waters Technology Asia recently. Can you talk a little bit more about Grenadier? What does that do?
Yeah, so this is one of our AI tools we've been working on for quite a while. So it's more on kind of on the machine learning side, and it's able to detect certain anomalies in pricing. So predominantly in the exchange traded world rather than FX CFD world, but it's able to detect those anomalies based on historical data and present that to the trader. So it's more for like even more of a, currently it's probably targeted for more of a professional trader, but like we were discussing earlier, retail traders start getting access to more and more information, and AI can probably help explaining what can be done with these new data inputs on anomaly detection to the traders.
So does it give signals for a potential anomaly, or is it just looking historically at anomalies to view patterns for trade? What does it actually do?
Yeah, so it's analyzing the patterns, the pricing, also bringing in volume data, and then from there it can provide signals to the traders.
Right.
So this is one. Also in DXFeed, the team have worked on another product which is called Summerfox, and this is maybe more relevant for the retail kind of trader that FX CFD brokers have. This is able to analyze the current portfolio of the client, what they've traded. It also can go off and bring in all of the latest news and sentiment, how often that has been mentioned in certain articles, etc. and then it can do a full portfolio analysis of what you hold. Maybe you're too heavy in certain areas, because it is also able to do this for equities and futures and options. So maybe you're in a certain industry, it's taking too much of your portfolio, or you want to find out what's affected your portfolio today. So that's something that we have a lot of interest in from brokers, definitely. They're wanting to add this.
And with the idea of client retention, so clients are longer lasting clients.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is definitely for that, the type of broker that wants a long relationship with their trader.
Right. Now, looking to the future, what do you see in 1 year, 5 years? I mean, this isn't going away. So where are we going? Where are we heading as an industry?
Sure. So yeah, like I said, I think in a few years we'll start to see front ends that are can be adapted to the type of trader, but essentially the front end will just become a commodity. Like I said, you can already build your own UI. Any broker can build their own interface that they want, but really the value is in the back end and the infrastructure that a broker holds. Like the front end is not won't be that important in the few years' time. And this is why we see some of the incumbent vendors out there, the other vendors like MetaTrader and CTrader, trying to expand to take the whole vertical. You probably I'm sure I read it on LiquidityFinder that they built their own bridges, aggregators, smart order routers, this kind of functionality. So they're trying to take this whole vertical, because a lot of the value in those platforms, why brokers and take them, because the traders are used to those front ends. So that will change in 2 years time, I believe. And then further ahead, I think that you won't even have applications on your phone. You'll have your AI tool on your phone. You'll look at your phone, and it will just show you what you want to see or what you want to do. So, I think that some traders will just want AI to kind of manage the accounts. But also, I think I know not all traders will want to do that. I think trading is a bit like driving. We all are looking at these autonomous cars, but there are a lot of people that really enjoy driving a car themselves, and I think that traders will continue to want to drive themselves, but they will have the power to picture any type of way that they want to trade, and the AI tool on their phone, on their machine, will just show them what they want. It will know their history, how they trade, what they trade. It will show them things that's relevant for them, and then they'll just interact, and there will not be multiple trading applications on your phone that you're logging into. It will just be one place. And like I mentioned, the benefits with AI for brokers that can connect into multiple places. These apps, this AI app on your phone will be able to connect into all your different trading accounts. Maybe if you want to buy a certain instrument, it's going to figure out where it's cheapest, what makes more sense for you. Maybe it's going to aggregate that into one place. Maybe it's going to figure out how to rebalance your portfolio across different providers to manage your risk, and things like that. So that's kind of how I see things happening in the long term, and that's why really it's important to have a very robust backend, have APIs that are there and ready to be able to handle kind of whatever comes in the future. Because really, we cannot say. When we had these industry panels on AI, 4 years ago, we, I don't think anyone was kind of guessing how it would be even today. So yeah, it's hard to say, but that's definitely something that we recommend to the brokers that come to us, which is making sure that you have the back end ready to adopt to this in the future.
Yeah, I think OpenAI this week, yesterday maybe, announced in the run-up that IPO that they are moving towards agents rather than chatbots. Pretty much backing up what you were just saying. So their view is that somebody will log into their phone and AI will just connect to all your apps and connect to all your services, Brokerage being one of them. And you just instruct it what to do, and it's not really the traditional ChatGPT interface. It's more of an agent running.
And even the instruct it what to do. This will be AI, because for me personally, like having to sit down and type all of these questions and things like this into ChatGPT and the AI tools, it's time consuming, and actually once these models learn how we work and how we think, it will start to take over. And we already see in the latest models, more and more prompts, at the end of your responses, and these are not just there to help you develop where you're going, but it's collecting that data to understand how you're thinking, and at some stage it will start making the decisions for you that it thinks that you want.
I think this is the really big change that's happening. It's the ability of these models to actually learn as they go, compared to where we were 5-10 years ago with EAs learning from history and setting a recipe or a formula for trading into the future, but not learning as it's trading. It's based on historical data, and what we have now is something that's learning as it's going and adapting and becoming perhaps more sophisticated in terms of the trader trading with the broker, and the broker going back to it, as I said before, the broker has to become more sophisticated to manage that kind of more sophisticated flow. But it all comes down to the back end, right? So you need to have very solid foundations to cope with what's coming down the pipe in the future. So what's your advice to brokers now? What should they be doing?
Obviously, I'm sure many people out there have had their CEO, playing with AI and getting called into the office and saying we need to AI everything. So definitely, I'm a big advocate of AI, but I would say things are moving so fast, you don't need to jump into everything. And like I said, right now it's like a race to chuck stuff into a front end, and quite soon it will, things there will change. So yeah, I mean, and obviously, like we've been discussing, right now we cannot completely rely on these tools for stability. So there is no substitute for the actual interfaces that the platforms out there have. And then if you are making a new technology choice, making sure that the API is ready for you and the backbone is there. Actually, an MCP service is. You can make an MCP service in 5 minutes. You could vibe code an MCP service, but the real value is on that that backend API. So if you are making technology decisions, make sure you have something that will support you in the future.
So just on that about vibe coding an MCP service, would you do that in Claude or OpenAI, or would you use a different platform for?
No, you could go into Claude, you can give it some API, you can say, make me an MCP service in Python, and it will write you a connector, and you can go into Claude and click add connector, show this Python service that's running on your machine, and connect to any API. So it's very simple to do.
You don't even need to be a coder.
No, you don't need to be a coder.
Incredible. Okay, well, Jon, thank you very much for sharing all your thoughts. It is a rapidly changing world. I mean, I've locked up some front ends myself using Claude, and it's astonishing what can be done now. From anybody with no experience can create trading applications at all.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great conversation. Thanks, Sam, for having me.
And where can people meet you over the next few months?
Obviously, we have the summer when these events start to die down. But the core event season, starting mid-September for the next 2.5 months. I'm sure I'll be at those events. So please come and say hi.
Yeah, and people can always contact Devexperts through LiquidityFinder. Message Jon. He's got an account. And thank you very much, Jon, for your time. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.